Who are the 5 most lethal warriors in the Bible? And why were they so lethal? As we reflect on the lives and achievements of these 5 biblical warriors, we see that their stories are much more than accounts of battle and military triumphs. They are profound testimonies of the interplay between faith, strategy, and divine strength that shaped the history of Israel and continue to inspire to this day. In the Bible, war is more than a mere struggle for territory. It is a stage where courage, strategy, and faith meet in an epic confrontation. Each battle fought in the ancient Holy Land carries with it a deep spiritual and moral message. Biblical warriors are not just historical figures. They are symbols of virtue and determination, whose stories transcend time and continue to inspire. These men and women faced not only visible enemies, but also fought against invisible forces of despair and doubt. They are remembered for their ability to turn adversity into triumph, always with a strong connection to the divine. As we explore the lives of these warriors, we discover that their victories were not only the result of their martial skills, but also of a deep and unwavering alliance with God. Their deeds are narrated not only to record battles, but to convey lessons of faith, courage, and leadership that echo through the millennia. Each of these warriors played a crucial role in shaping the nation of Israel and preserving the faith that would continue to guide believers through the generations. As we embark on this journey to learn about the 5 most lethal warriors in the Bible, be prepared to dive into stories of bravery that blend physical strength with spirituality. The first of these was Joshua. As we look at Joshua's journey, we are immediately transported to a time when the promised land was within reach, but still a challenge to be conquered. Joshua, the successor of Moses, was not just a military leader. He was a man of deep faith and keen strategy, appointed by God to fulfill the promise made to Abraham. The first great test of his leadership came with the conquest of Jericho. Picture the scene: a fortified city with imposing walls and a population that believed they were safe within their citadel. But Joshua, following divine instructions, led the people around the city for 6 days, and on the 7th day, the priests blew the trumpets and the people gave a powerful shout. The walls of Jericho fell as if they were made of paper. This was not just a military victory. It was a clear demonstration that victory came from God and that obedience and faith were crucial. After the fall of Jericho, Joshua continued to lead the Israelites in a series of battles to claim the promised land. He faced powerful nations and fortified cities, but always with a strategy that combined military tactics with divine guidance. Each victory was accompanied by a reaffirmation of the covenant between God and the people of Israel. Joshua's legacy is a story of courageous leadership and faith in action. His life illustrates how trust in God's promises and willingness to follow his commands can turn seemingly insurmountable challenges into radiant victories. Joshua not only conquered lands, he paved the way for the future nation of Israel, marking a decisive chapter in biblical history. And now, let us move forward and discover another warrior whose strength and strategy shaped the history of Israel in an equally remarkable way. The second was David. The story of David is a fascinating narrative of contrasts. From a humble shepherd to one of Israel's greatest kings, his journey is filled with moments of bravery that defy logic and expectation. David, initially known for his courage and faith, gained dramatic fame by confronting the Philistine giant Goliath. Picture the scene: a young man, devoid of heavy armor or sophisticated weapons, facing a colossal warrior who terrorized the Israelite army. Armed with only a sling and a few stones, David challenged Goliath. In an act of pure faith and fearless determination, he slung a stone that struck Goliath's forehead, bringing down the giant and altering the course of the battle. This victory was not merely a feat of skill, but a testament to how faith in God can overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges. Following this triumph, David continued to demonstrate his military prowess and leadership. His campaigns expanded Israel's territory and secured an era of relative peace and prosperity. He was not just a warrior, but also a shrewd strategist, knowing when to act and when to wait, always guided by a blend of divine wisdom and military instinct. But David is also remembered for his personal victories and defeats. His reign was not without turmoil. Intrigues, betrayals, and the consequences of his own choices tested his ability to govern and his faith. Nonetheless, David's story is a testament to the complexity of leadership and resilience, showing that even the greatest warriors face their internal battles. Now, let us delve into the story of another warrior whose victories were marked not just by strength, but also by remarkable strategy and unwavering faith. The third was Gideon. Gideon embodies the idea that faith and strategy can transform the seemingly impossible into a glorious victory. When the Midianites oppressed Israel, God chose Gideon, a man who saw himself as the least in his tribe, to lead an army against a massive and well-equipped enemy. What makes Gideon's story particularly remarkable is the way God guided his strategy. Instead of forming a large army to confront the Midianites, God instructed Gideon to reduce his troops. The initial number of 32,000 men was cut down to just 300, a drastic reduction that seemed absurd to any military commander. With this small group, Gideon faced an enemy force that was described as a swarm of locusts, numerous and terrifying. Employing a plan involving surprise and confusion, Gideon and his men attacked at night, using trumpets and torches to create the illusion of a much larger army. The resulting chaos caused the Midianites to turn against each other, leading to a resounding victory for Israel. Gideon's victory was not just a military triumph. It was a powerful demonstration of how trusting God can lead to extraordinary results. With limited resources and facing immense odds, Gideon showed that true strength comes from faith and obedience to the divine plan, not necessarily from the quantity of resources or the number of soldiers. From Gideon, we learn that true leadership and effective strategy often arise from a deep trust in higher principles and the courage to follow an unconventional path. Now, let us discover another warrior whose strength was not just in physical ability, but in a supernatural force that defied all expectations. The fourth was Samson. Samson is one of the most fascinating characters in the Bible, known for his almost mythical physical strength and his turbulent journey. His story is a demonstration of how divine power can manifest through a human being, and also how strength and weakness can coexist in a single life. From birth, Samson was consecrated to God as a Nazirite, a vow that included restrictions such as not cutting his hair. This vow of dedication and his supernatural strength were closely linked. Samson used his strength in numerous battles against the Philistines, a people who had oppressed Israel. One of the most notable episodes is his victory over a fierce lion, which he tore apart with his bare hands, and the time he used the jawbone of a donkey to kill 1,000 Philistines in an impressive display of raw power. However, Samson's story is also marked by his personal weaknesses, particularly his relationships with Philistine women, including Delilah's betrayal. Discovering the secret of Samson's strength and revealing it to the Philistines led to Samson's capture and blinding. Even in captivity, his strength returned when he prayed to God for one final display of power. In a final act of sacrifice, Samson brought down the pillars of the Philistine temple, causing its collapse and the death of many Philistines, along with his own. Samson's life is a powerful lesson on the complexity of human strength and weakness. While his physical strength was extraordinary, his choices and personal weaknesses also played a crucial role in his fate. His story reveals how divine strength can operate through imperfect individuals, and how even the greatest warriors can face their own internal battles. Now, let us explore the journey of another warrior whose strength was rooted in his spiritual and strategic leadership, making a significant impact on the history of Israel. The fifth was Elisha. Elisha, the successor of Elijah, is a fascinating figure who, although not a warrior in the traditional sense, played a crucial role in spiritual and political battles that shaped the history of Israel. His life demonstrates how divine strength and prophetic authority can influence the course of events in surprising ways. One of the most striking stories about Elisha is the episode where he guided the battle against the Syrians. When the king of Israel was in trouble, Elisha received a vision from God and with it, helped the king avoid ambushes and surprise attacks. Elisha also intervened more directly in battles, such as when he prayed for God to blind the Syrian army, allowing them to be captured without bloodshed. This action not only saved Israel from an imminent crisis, but also showcased God's power to protect and guide his people through his prophet. Another significant demonstration of Elisha's influence occurred during the severe drought that struck Israel. Elisha prayed to God, and in response, rain was sent, ending the drought and bringing new hope to the people. This miracle not only alleviated the crisis, but also reaffirmed Elisha's role as a powerful prophet who maintained a direct connection with God and whose actions had a profound and immediate impact. In addition to his interventions in battles and crises, Elisha is also remembered for his miracles and acts of compassion, such as healing Naaman, the Syrian commander of leprosy. These miracles were an extension of his spiritual authority and strength, demonstrating how faith and divine intervention can transform difficult situations into unexpected triumphs. Elisha's life is a reminder that true strength is not always visible. Sometimes, it is spiritual strength and divine wisdom that shape the destiny of nations and people. His ability to act on behalf of God and the victories he achieved show that true leadership often comes from the capacity to intercede and transform situations through faith and divine action. Now that we've explored Elisha's story, let's reflect on the legacy of these warriors, each contributing uniquely and powerfully to the history and faith of Israel. Reflecting on the lives and achievements of these 5 biblical warriors, we see that their stories are much more than narratives of battle and military conquests. They are profound testimonies of the interaction between faith, strategy, and divine strength that shaped the history of Israel and continue to inspire today. Joshua, with his courage and leadership, not only conquered the Promised Land but also laid the foundations for the nation of Israel, demonstrating how obedience to God can transform immense challenges into lasting victories. David, with his ability to turn personal weaknesses into strength in his remarkable reign, shows how leadership can be a journey of overcoming and continuous growth. Gideon, facing a formidable threat with a reduced army, reveals that true strength comes from trust in God, not from the quantity of resources. Samson, with his supernatural strength and personal failings, teaches us about the complexity of human and divine strength. And Elisha, with his prophetic authority and divine intervention, demonstrates how faith can influence and transform situations on deep and impactful levels. These warriors were not merely figures of power and skill. They were men and women of faith, whose actions and choices were guided by a deep belief in something greater than themselves. Their stories offer lessons on leadership, courage, and the importance of spiritual connection in achieving great feats. The legacy of these warriors continues to be a source of inspiration, reminding us that the true battles are not only against visible enemies, but also against internal doubts and spiritual challenges. They show that with faith and determination, it is possible to overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles and leave a lasting mark on history. Therefore, as we study their lives and achievements, we are invited to reflect on how we can apply these principles of faith, courage, and strategy in our own journeys, seeking divine strength and guidance to face our own challenges.